Yeah, another cup. They have another cup. Hold on. Hold on. Any questions? Ahmed. What makes a person a Canaanite? And what status does that give them in Islam? Allahu Alam. Next question. Wa
Why do the Yehudi today make the term Semitic exclusive only for them? When clearly we have some people in this room, maybe some of our relatives, our children, our spouses are Semite. We pray in Semitic language. Our prophet is a Semite. So why is it they made that term anti-Semitic exclusively for the Yahud alone?
My similar answer to Ahmed's question, Allah surely knows best. However, a problem with the term is a big, huge, long discussion, and the problem with that term, that word, anti-Semitic, its history, its weaponization, etc. But every now and then you just sit and you want to scratch your head and you ask yourself, what is a Semite? Shem. Who was Shem? What was his past? And what offspring did he have? So if you find out that there are people who are descendants of Shem, not just these people, you say, wait a second, so any disrespect or intolerance or prejudice or racism or violence or criticism against any descendant of Shem would also be. So if we can go to a soccer game and scream and chant death to Arabs, or say your mother is a whore, your wife is a whore, your daughter is a whore, you filthy, dirty Arabs, and that's accepted behavior on the streets of Jerusalem, it's a little interesting there, isn't it? And may Allah make it easy for us. Next question.
It's often translated Miller as religion. And when I go through the different translations, I find way pre, and I'm like, and I personally, while reading this, I believe that when we say religion, it's incorrect. And the reason why, and I'm going to ask if this is a good thought, is that a lot of these people who claim to be, Christian and Jews, they're not following their religion, and they want us to be laxadays with our Islam, just the way they are with their religion. So I feel like, my understanding is that when we say religion, they're not on their religion. They want us to be, a Muslim, but actually, they like the Muslims who is slacking, who takes off the hijab, who don't pray, who drinks, like the guy who is very slacking. Is this would you agree with this conclusion?
وإياكم حتى تتبع ملتهم, until you follow their millah. It could mean deen, meaning their creed, for sure. Their way, tariqah, madhab, and all of those things are a part of a deen as well. Deen is much more than just what you believe in your heart. The deen is your practice, your culture. And this is also part of the argument concerning holidays. For those who say, it's a secular holiday, holidays is one of the greatest manifestations of deen, period. And one of the strongest and most powerful cultural icons is a holiday, festival. So all of that is included in that. As far as, secularizing Islam and making Islam into just, a faith one day out the week, that's well known. May Allah help us all. The problem, as we said, isn't with them saying that directly or indirectly. The problem is people, min bani jildatina, from us, saying that. A scholar or a preacher, a cleric, a doctor, an academic, whatever, promoting and calling the people to wash and to shave and to sanitize the deen. That's where it hurts the most, unfortunately. Wallahu a'lam. Fadal.
This is KB from Montreal, Canada. A lot of the people in the MSA are blatantly free mixing without a real need. What are some proof and evidences that I could bring to the table to advise them with?
People in the MSA are free mixing blatantly.
Without a real need.
Without a real need. Well, in brief, as I said before, I think that it is incorrect and inaccurate to label free mixing as haram. That's against the proof and evidence. And permissible free mixing, disliked free mixing, la shak, no doubt about that. There's no question about that. إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. So there is a type of mixing between sexes which is clearly haram. No discussion regarding it. And there's a time and a place and a type of mixing between sexes which is clearly permissible. When is it yay or nay? That depends. As we've also, we've explained this as well. Whenever the people are following the rules, the normal rules better and more, then the degree of dislike or haram is going to be lesser. So there's a bunch of men and women in the same room and they're all dressed properly. That's not as bad as them being in the same room and dressed what? Improperly. There are a bunch of brothers and sisters in the room and they're lowering their gaze. It's not the same as, there are a bunch of men and women in the same room that are physically separated, even though they're under the same roof. It's not the same as them. Even though there could be a time and a place in which the men and the women in the same room, that still shouldn't be like that, but it's not the same. At the end of the day, regardless of this technical discussion, what proof and evidence can you use? Shaitan walks with the son of Adam like blood flows through his vein, or like blood flows through his veins. It's that simple. So whenever there are men and women that are mixing in the incorrect way and in the correct manner, or even if it's permissible but it's just too much mixing, it's nothing but a matter of time before that shaitan will shoot his arrows. And someone has to be a casualty. It's that simple. Wallahu a'lam. However, one of the crazy things about the MSA, I mean, yes, you have to feel law the best way you can, but don't forget that you do go to college. Let's not forget that. Your whole school is what? Absolutely free. Let's not forget that. So many Muslims today, and alhamdulillah, I'm not trying to shame anyone. They try to do certain things. That's a good thing. But I'm just talking general, okay? Not about everybody, but many people, when it comes to the MSA, as if they get some, a special set of rulings that come out of thin air. So my class teacher is a woman, totally uncovered, I'm sitting in front of her for what hour, hour and a half, okay? Sitting next to me is who? Susie, and on the other side is Rebecca, right? And in front of me may be, don't even, Akhi. Don't even, Akhi. Don't. What heck is that? So everything is free mixed, but as the moment it's the MSA, it's not what? It's like the Sharia, like, yeah, it's impermissible. The sister cannot be the head of the MSA. Astaghfirullah, a'udhu billah. Any people who put a woman in charge of them won't be sick. But you just will sit next to Susie and Rebecca with your teacher for an hour and a half. Doing group work. I don't understand it. I've never been to, secular college. Maybe it's something I just won't be able to comprehend. But I've been to MSAs doing lectures, and I've seen it with my own eyes. We were waiting to use the room once. I'm not going to mention the college. I think you were with me, Nafis, one day. We were waiting for the students to come out the room and to use the room. The professor, how was she dressed that day? The brothers came out. Oh, Sister Fulan, let's talk. Akhi, Sheikh, can the sister give it? I'm saying to myself, Sister Aisha, she can't give the talk in front of the MSA because she's a woman, but you sat there for an hour and a half in front of Mrs. Professor Doyle. How does that make sense? Did you lower your gaze then? Yeah, Miss Weinberg or whatever. Was that haram? Like, I don't get it. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying that you don't try the best that you can. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that we have to stop this fake piety. And a lot of it is fake. No rules. Miss Weinberg, kafir, totally undressed, shamefully dressed. Sister Karima, who has an announcement to make for the MSA. She's wearing a khimar and astaghfirullah. Nah. La. Wallahu a'lam.
Initials ZAB from Windsor. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti, your brother from Windsor. What's the ruling on going to the garden and watching Knicks beat Philly?
Watching what? The Knicks beat Philly.
What's the ruling on going to the garden and watching Knicks beat Philly? Going to games with music and cheerleaders.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless the brothers and the disciples in Windsor. Ameen. What's the rule on going to the garden to watch the Knicks beat the Sixers? Definitely makruh. For sure. Next question.
Initials HA from Toronto, Canada. Assalamu alaikum. I seem to be unintentionally projecting my stress onto my husband by being distant, not as responsive. How can I manage my stress and not project it on him?
I seem to be indirectly or subconsciously projecting my stress by ignoring or being distant from my husband, etc. Well, first, you got to seek Allah's refuge and protection. Stress, sadness, worry, anxiety, these human emotions or feelings are all going to be tools and weapons of the shaitan. The more distant you are from your husband, the easier it is for the shaitan to separate you from your husband. And it may be even deeper than that. It may not just be stress. It could be something worse. The general rule is whenever a woman is distant from her husband, or vice versa, husband is distant from his wife, without no tangible reason, in most cases, some type of sihr involved. There's some type of sihr involved in most cases. And even if it is a tangible reason, it doesn't mean that the shaitan isn't going to turn it and exploit it into something else. One of the greatest goals of the shaitan is to separate a man from his wife. So be mindful of that. We went over this in the class on sihr, right? And bayon, about the types of sihr, sihr tafriq, splitting a man and his wife, being emotionally distant, cold, so on and so forth. And be careful. Be very, 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 very careful. As far as handling stress in Islam, there are many du'as for that. Many means of protection against being stressed in the first place. And from that is just looking at the hayat dunya. It's dunya. You're a human being, yes. But how stressed can you possibly make yourself over something that's dunya? That's temporary, that's transient, that's passing, that's fleeting. It's not going to stay forever. It's not yours. You don't own the thing. There are people closer to Allah going through worse. There are people further from Allah going through less. So these are supposed to be levels of protection, preventing that stress from reaching the innermost chamber of your heart and your mind. There's supposed to be several walls. If they get past this wall, they're not going to get past that, like a castle. It's dunya. It wasn't mine in the first place. It's only going to last for a short period of time. With every hardship comes ease, etc., etc., etc. So it's going to scratch you, but you're allowing it to bite down and chew into your flesh. That's a problem in itself. That's a problem in itself. So how to handle stress in Islam? Wallahu ta'ala alam.
And this was KB from Montreal, Canada. What to do in order to maximize the benefit you get from visiting Muslim countries?
Maximizing the benefit from Muslim countries? Well, one day, just go outside, walk down the street, and just soak in and soak up how it feels to be around all Muslims or most Muslims. Versus you walking down the street, you being around all non-Muslims. If you hear the adhan, soak that in. How many masjids you can go to. Not having to question the food or the cross-contamination, etc. Learning the history of that country. What conquests were there. What great scholars and traders and mystics traveled to or from those lands, etc. Wallahu ta'ala alam.
This is TA from Baltimore, Maryland. What should a husband say if his wife says something disrespectful that hurts his ego?
What should a husband say if a wife says something disrespectful that hurts his ego? He should tell her to fear Allah. Ittaqillah. He should remind her and advise her. That's his obligation towards her. They are brothers and sisters in faith. He should remind her that she has to fear Allah with her tongue. Being disrespectful to your husband is impermissible, a major sin. And on a personal level, he should say something and check it. And he shouldn't just, allow it to slip by. Because in most cases, she'll do it again. So you got to tell her from the get-go, don't ever say that again. Period. First time and the last time. Number 3. Next question.
And it's SM from NYC, NY. I don't know where that is. Initials MM from Minneapolis, MN. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahsanallahu alayk, Shaykh. Can a man and a woman talk over the phone to see? Can a man and a woman talk over the phone to see for compatibility before khitbah? And if the woman's father is out of the continent with no Wi-Fi, does wali go to a brother?
Can a man and a woman talk on the phone to see if they're compatible before khitbah? You said? And what if the father is out the country and there's no Wi-Fi? Does the waliship go to the brother? But as far as a man and woman talking on the phone before they get married to see if they're compatible to get married, inshallah, it can be done. Bil ma'ruf. Wa billati hi ahsan. In the best manner. In the best manner. So obviously you have to get to know the person. You can't have a sit down every day, a meeting every day with that person. But just know the ledge. Know the ledge of yourself, of her, of shaitan, and just be mindful. Times, conversations, maturity, fitna, and just be what? Be mindful. Does the waliship go to the brother if the father's out the country with no Wi-Fi? Get the dad a better Wi-Fi plan. Inshallah. AT&T. Next question.
Mufti. Initials AS from Evesham, New Jersey. If place is a creation, does this mean Allah exists without a place since place is a created thing?
Repeat the question.
If place is a creation, does this mean Allah exists without place since place is a created thing?
If place is a creation, does this mean that Allah exists without, what'd you say?
Without a place.
Without a place. Go ahead. Bismillah. This is the lingo of those groups who've based their way upon this type of rhetoric and philosophical jargon. We can't say that Allah is in a place, nor is he outside of a place. He's not a part of the universe, nor is he outside of the universe. He's not above, nor is he below. He's not. Where are you going, Yani? What does it end up with? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is where he said he was. No one is more truthful than Allah. No one knows Allah more than Allah. No human being knows more about Allah than the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No people knew more about the Messenger of Allah than the Sahaba. So do you know more than Allah? Are you more truthful than Allah? What did Allah say about himself? Did he say, I am not in no place? Do the angels say that? They fear Allah from no place? What does the Quran and Hadith tell us? Wallahu a'lam.
Initials IR from Toronto, Canada. Are the J's a race or a deen? Can someone be a Muslim J? Some say they aren't a race but pretend to be because they have no traceable history. Please explain in detail.
We can't explain in detail. That's the whole discussion. That's a long historical discussion for which there are many ramifications. Is it a deen? Is it a culture? Is it a religion? Etc. In New York City, there could be a Jewish deli and the meat isn't kosher. It isn't kosher. I didn't say no names, but it could be a Jewish delicatessen, but the meat, what? It isn't kosher. Or that's another level, glot, etc. So that's a long, long, long discussion. We don't have the time for that right now. Wallahu a'lam.
Initials TA from Baltimore, Maryland. What is the real history behind Thanksgiving, both the Canadian one and the American one?
What is the real history behind Thanksgiving? The Canadian one and the American one. There are several theories, several. There's several different massacres and genocides that took place, slaughters that took place, yani, butcherings that took place. Me personally, from my reading of history, I don't deny the fact that there could have been some times in which the Indian, quote unquote, brought a turkey and the pilgrim gave him something. I don't deny the fact that there were some friendly dealings or encounters between the savage Indian and the civilized pilgrim. They sat down, he gave him some seeds, he showed him this. I don't deny it. No one is going to deny that. To this very day, with all of the different wars and killings and slaughterings and genocides, you find people every now and then what? There are always people who jump the fence. He's this, but he doesn't want to be identified with. That's always been the case. So I don't deny the fact that there have been some happy stories. Now, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie, turkeys and stuffed turkeys, wild rice and cabbage and all these different, beets and etc. Maybe, But the moral of the story is just look. I mean, we're on the East Coast. We're in New York. When's the last time you seen an Indian? Just think about that. You have to go and travel out of the way just to see one. And the ones that are on the different reservations are not necessarily the ones that were actually in this huge locale. They were driven, pushed, forced, killed, slaughtered far across west. So if you want to know Thanksgiving and how many turkeys they shared together, then you just look at the result. Or maybe they voluntarily migrated. Or a better theory, and this is even more appropriate with regards to what's happening today, a land, with no people for people, with no land. And then when this people, this land, these people just pop up out of the middle of nowhere, now there's a problem. That's yani, Allahu Mustaan, yani. Next question. Many people, they think that things were a little better in Canada. I mean, if you look at some of the atrocities, some stuff was even worse. And one thing about the American atrocities, they're known. Many of them are. There are many things which are only known except for people who read about them. But many atrocities are pretty known. But if you look at the first people and the history of the first people in Canada, you'll find a lot of stuff is still under the rug. What they just gave back we need Saleh, there's a sealskin kayak from the Vatican. They just returned like a bunch of artifacts to the first peoples of Canada. Read it, just in the news, it's fresh. Yeah, they try to apologize for some of their atrocities. Imagine that, a sealskin kayak. Talking about technology, right? Fadal, waterproof, watertight. Fadal.
This is MA from Cairo, Egypt.
Look it up, Talib. What does it say? You done for the night, Super Mario. Your question credit is over. Yeah. This your first class on Wednesday night? Second. All right, you got to build up more credit. Inshallah. I'm sure they will. You still got to what? Yeah. Fadl Talib.
Can I take my first question?
La.
The Vatican held this
Inuit. What did it say?
Inuit kayak for 100 years.
Wow. 100 years they had the kayak.
Now it's coming home.
MashaAllah.
Push to reclaim kayak led to historic repatriation of 62 Inuit, First Nations, and Métis objects.
62 objects they had for 100 years. We've decided to give them back to you. Tafaddal. Tafaddal. What did the Vatican want with those things? What was they doing with them for 100 years? A museum, like, if they're so savage and backwards people, yani. Fadal.
No. This is MA from Cairo, Egypt. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. May Allah bless you guys, Sheikh. Sheikh, do you have any advice on reviewing kutub like flashcards or something else to make the material stick?
Our last question tonight. Advice on reviewing books such as flashcards or any other type of material. My general advice is do whatever works for you. Do whatever works for you. Whether that's a flashcard, a joke, a game, writing it, saying it, however, whatever works for you. And that's a part of learning the form but seeking the formless. So whatever works and keeps it, allows it to stick to your mind, and of course not haram, against Quran and Sunnah, Bismillah, formless. Learning the form is the obligation of memorizing, the importance of memorizing, the necessity of reviewing. That's the form. That's the stuff that you have to learn that doesn't change. Year 2000, 2025, 2000, Egypt, America, Yemen, it doesn't, the form. Those usul don't change. And the formless is, in 8th century Baghdad, this is how they made review. In 12th century Syria, that's how they made review. In 16th century such and such, that's how they made review. In 2025 in Cairo, Egypt, whack at that. So whatever works for you, you do it. It's just that simple. The problem is, many of us when we practice the formless, we misunderstand formlessness to mean neglecting and ignoring the inevitable form. And that is hard work when it comes to hifz. No matter how many flashcards you have, how many games or apps, nothing will ever replace hardcore back-breaking hifz. You putting in the effort, period. Me, book, that's it. Put in the effort. No matter how long it takes or how painful it is, putting in the effort. Everything isn't going to be easy and fun. That's the moral of the story. So whatever works for you, do it. But at the same time, no matter how innovative you are, it's always going to come back down to the what? It's like a projectile. It's going to come back to the same ancient principle, a sling or a drone. It's going to come to something thrown or launched, hitting something. It's inevitable. So you got to put in the hard work. That's the moral of the story. Wallahu ta'ala alam. We'll stop here.
Try like recording yourself, reciting, recording.
That's fine. Recording yourself, it's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Inshallah, this Saturday will be our second term, our winter quarter for the International Islamic University of Minnesota. We have 2 classes that will be starting, inshallah, 2 more courses. First is History of Islamic Jurisprudence, Tarikh al-Tashri', the history of the 4 madhabs, and the madhabs outside of the 4. Who were those imams? Why are they so important and essential? How did their schools and schools of thought develop? How were they synthesized and how did they evolve? How did we get the modern rulings? What's the proof and evidence that they used to build their schools and their followers and their students? And then we have, bid'nillahi ta'ala, ethics concerning family and society, inshallah ta'ala. The classes are 11 a.m. Eastern time to 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 to 1 p.m. Those are the 2 classes that I will be teaching on behalf of the International Islamic University of Minnesota, bid'nillahi ta'ala. Last semester was our fall quarter. We went over Introduction to Quranic Sciences and Islamic Manners and Behavior. So this is our winter quarter. These are our 2 classes, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Everyone is welcome to join, to sign up, inshallah ta'ala. The flyer is on our social media pages. How to sign up, alaikum salam. How to register, inshallah ta'ala. And those classes will begin this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, inshallah ta'ala. And everyone is welcome to join. Jazakumullahu khairan.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock here as well. We'll have our lecture on the importance of tarbiyah and al-Islam. Man, woman, and child, everyone is welcome, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullahu khairan. Before Isha. Yeah.